Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing a review of Nick's boots, in this case the Nick's Urban Logger. So these are the Urban Logger stock configuration in the walnut roughout leather. So that gets you the natural edge color, the brass hardware with the full roughout leather. So I'll talk about the construction of these boots. These are a stitch down construction boot like all of the Nick's boots. So you take the vamp leather, flare it out and stitch it down. Additionally, they have a Blake stitch on the inside of the boot. So the vamp liner, which is a 4-ounce leather I think, goes underneath the insole and then that gets stitched also. Like all the Nick's boots, these have a leather shank. You can see that big hump down there, so that's the leather shank. Gives the boots good support in this area where there's no sole touching the ground. Additionally, the heel on these boots helps to balance the boot, so it's got a high arch on the 55 last, and so the heel brings up the back of the boot so you don't feel like you're leaning back. Creates a very nice, well-balanced boot with good arch support. And I'd never had anything like that before these boots, and it feels really nice. Even if you've never had that, if you're not used to it, after wearing the boots for a while, it's a really great touch. So these are in the Heritage line also, so that means in the stock configuration they'll come with a Celastic toe, which is sort of like a felt with some sort of reinforcing, I don't know, epoxy or something like that in it. So you get some little rigidity in the toe to help keep its structure, but it's not safety rated or anything. So it just adds a little stiffness and structure. Additionally, being a Heritage line boot, comes with the casual kiltie. You can swap that out or completely remove it if you want it, but I think it adds a nice little touch of detail. Also in the construction, Nick's boots, of course, they have a very robust heel counter. Nice heel cup in there for your heel to sit into, so that's a really nice touch, just a good quality thing. So we'll talk about the feel of these boots briefly. So of course, it's Nick's boots. There's a lot of leather here, and it's quite stiff leather. All of the leather in the sole here, I believe, is oak tan leather, so it's very stiff. You can see, squeezing it, it doesn't bend much, but on the foot it feels great because it's just stiff enough to give you the right support, but it's not painful or anything like that. The toe still bends when you walk, once you got them broken in, so it creates a nice, supportive, and comfortable boot. And as long as you get the right size, have good, sort of hugs your foot, As I wear these, I can feel my feet touching here and here. All through here, you can see the quarters have sort of shaped to my ankle. And I've only got maybe 130 hours of wearing these. I got about 100 hours in the first 2 weeks, so that was the main break-in time. And so they create a good, sort of snug, comfortable feel, which is what you want in a work boot. And it's nice and stiff in a good, supportive, and comfortable way. I talked about the arch support, so they've got an additional piece of leather in the construction, somewhere around here, I believe, in the middle of the boot. Just adds a little more arch support, and if you've never had anything like that, it's actually really nice. This is my first boot with something like that, and it is really nice to have. You've got good support under your entire foot, so you take your feet out at the end of the day, and you feel fresh. You're not like, oh man, I need to sit down and rest my feet. They're really quite comfortable boots. It's impressive. And while they are, snug boots like you would want boots to fit, they still have enough room in the toe box so you're not cramping your toes or anything like that, or as if you're in a dress shoe or something like that. Got enough room to wiggle around, you're not cutting off circulation or anything. So as far as that goes, they're very nice. Talk about the quality briefly. Of course, it's Nick's boots. The quality is, they speak for themselves. They're incredible boots, I think I've examined these thoroughly. I think I've only found one imperfection in one of the boots. There's like, one stitch somewhere around here on the inside that didn't get pulled all the way snug by the whatever stitching machine they're using. And so there's a tiny loop of thread in there, maybe sticking up, that much from the leather, 1/16 of an inch or something. Tiny, negligible imperfection. And that's pretty much the only imperfection I found. Everything else is, dare I say, perfect. They're really incredible boots. You get what you pay for, and I think it's, hard to be disappointed. Some people get all nitpicky, like the stitching here that's used to hold on the sole and whatnot. They say, oh, that should be, let me get that closer. They say, oh, something like that should be trimmed down shorter. Honestly, I think it's good that they leave it like that. You don't want anything, pulling through prematurely or anything like that. So I think, that's not a issue as far as I'm concerned. And examining the stitching, it is very well done. If you have to look at it sort of along the direction that the stitch goes to really see any slight wavering lines or anything like that. So the quality is really good. You know, it's great leather, USA tanned. So I believe this walnut roughout is from Seidel Tanning. So it's tanned in the USA, and they're made in the USA, of course. And it's really great leather. And of course, the roughout leather, you know, it hides any marks and whatnot. So you can, you know, scratch it like that, you know, get some marks on it. And then, you know, you just give it a rub or hit it with a brush enough, and then it'll buff right out and look great. Additionally, when you get these boots, they come with the NYX branded grease, which I think is basically Obanoff's. This will darken the leather pretty significantly, especially on the roughout. So if you want to keep the color of these boots, I just suggest, you know, put it on in a very light coat. I use like a little dauber brush, you know, just put it on lightly and maybe do it a little more frequently if you want to keep the color. If you want to keep the texture, hit it with like a stiff brush and it'll get that nap brought right back up. So super easy to condition, you know, take 10-15 minutes and do it and keep them looking good. Additionally, this leather is great for hiding some scuffs, I think so. Yeah, you know, some little scuffs and whatnot on the toe of the boot there. If you want to hide something like that, just put a little bit of that oil and it shines it right up. You know, I do that every once in a while just on the heel and the midsole, and it keeps them looking fresh. You know, I wear these both casually and for some light work, doing some woodworking in the garage or whatever. And I know they'll take way more than I can ever throw at them, so they're really quality boots. You can see it too, the quality in the hardware that they use. The hooks and the eyes are all very robust. See if you can see if it'll focus on there. Kind of hard to tell, but the hooks, they're just the right size, and it's almost as if they're cast or forged or something, but they're really robust. Of course, everything else, you know, the stitching, we got 4 rows of stitching here, 3 rows back here, you know, a whole bunch of stitching on this heel stay, I guess you could call it. I think that's what it is. You know, everything is very robust, very well done, high quality shoe. I'll sort of move the boot around so you can see it from a bunch of different angles. So there's the sole. You can see it from the inside, outside of the boot. You can see the top. Now what's great is, let me move the back boot. They have a very nice profile. So these are a B width. It's an 11.5 B. I have a quite narrow foot. They've got a great profile. They're not wide or boxy or anything like that. So it's actually, you can wear them casually and they look great. You know, so if you're tired of, you know, boots looking like a massive thing on your foot, these are a great alternative. You know, they look great, but they'll also take some work. As far as sizing goes, what I did, you can either do the NYX try-on process, you know, get a pair sent to you or whatnot. But I just went to a local boot store. I think it was a Red Wing, which is kind of funny. Went in there, got sized on their 3D scanner machine, and then they put me at an 11.9C, sized down half a length, so I got 11.5 length. And I went to B because I measured the ball of my foot, compared it to the NYX sizing chart, and then that put me at a B, and they fit fantastic. Like I said, you know, I can feel my foot in here, I can feel it up in here. My heel sits nicely into the heel cup. You know, it is really a great fitting boot. Overall, are they worth it? So these boots, you know, they'll run you, I think these retail right now for $539. That's sort of where most of the NYX boots start. And I'd say they are absolutely worth it. You get fantastic quality leather. I think it's 7 to 8 ounce leather with a 4 ounce vamp liner inside. You know, all leather sole. They are really built about as tough and good quality as you can build a boot. You know, so I think they're absolutely worth it, and I wouldn't, you know, hesitate to pay full price for a second pair if I were to ever do that. You know, so they're a really fantastic boot. Overall, I think as long as you make sure to get the right size, you know, take the time, measure or do the try-on process, whatever you want, get the right size, and if you get a pair, I think it's impossible to be disappointed with them. They're a really fantastic boot. You know, any boot you get from them, whether it's the Urban Logger or the Robert or the Builder Pro if you need a big work boot. You know, so they're a fantastic product, and I think it's hard to go wrong. So there you go. So there's the NYX Urban Logger, the stock configuration walnut roughout, and I think it's a great boot for the money. Thanks for watching.